And so those were the strategic lens of sending a signal, but most importantly, demonstrating that we saw there was a shift in terms of where we were price point. We are a premium, so we're not going to lower to the lowest level in the market. And what I can tell you is that signal has now, we've seen the rewards. We've seen a significant interest, a number of applications.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's conversation. I'm Scoticia Hendrickson, and today I'm joined by His Excellency Mr. Calvin St. Juste, Chairman of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, or CIU. We're excited to learn more about the current initiatives and the direction of the CIU as it navigates a period of transformation. And we are here again with Mr. St. Juste. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
Awesome. So we're going to jump right into the restructuring of the CIU. What unique challenges come with restructuring a long-standing program like this?
Yeah, well, first off, as you can imagine, restructuring a 40-year plus program is not an easy feat, and it comes with a myriad of challenges. But I think before we get into the challenges, I think the key thing is around the why. Why did we do this? The main purpose is to preserve our reputational brand and ensure that we can demonstrate a level of efficiency, strong customer service, and most importantly, maintain the quality product and ensure that our due diligence is and integrity is one that one cannot challenge. The restructuring required a number of different moving parts. St. Kitts and Nevis CIU or CBI program has been the premier brand in the industry globally. And so we are always innovating ways to ensure that we remain at the competitive edge. And in doing a restructuring from a government entity to a statutory body allows us to operate this critical program or this critical unit more in a business manner, giving us more autonomy and independence in terms of making sure that we preserve and maintain this brand.
What does becoming a statutory body mean for the future of the CIU and its impacts on governance?
The transition to a statutory body really demonstrates the leadership, I would say even more so, the front runner that our St. Kitts and Nevis CBI program has always taken. We've always been a regional leader, and so we made a conservative decision to look at this key program that would allow it to operate more effectively and efficiently as an entity more in the same realm as a business. In doing so, the key thing that this transition allows is one, it allows us to maintain the integrity of the program. We are enshrined in good governance. As you know, there is always the aspect of how do you ensure that the right individuals are offered this opportunity to become part of the rock of our jurisdiction here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we had to take a very clear path around when we do this transition, we do not do any type of infringement to our good governance. The other piece I would say it's transitioning this into a statutory enable more of a independence aspect. And doing so, it allows now that we were able to implement a board of governors where I am the executive chairman, overseeing both the board of governors and the operational aspect of the unit. What this really does, it now gives you an opportunity to have an independence view on how is the unit operating both based on global standards, but how are we ensuring that we preserve and maintain the integrity as we do very, very stringent due diligence on every single individual so that we can protect and preserve our society, but most importantly, the integrity of the program. So this concept of transitioning needed to ensure that it was done deliberately, but in a measured approach to ensure that the success for the future of the program is maintained.
So this takes us into the 6 key pillars of the CIU, one of which is transparency. The CIU aims for openness in all decisions to foster trust. My question is, how does the CIU ensure transparency in its operations?
Yes, so I'll step back a bit. When I first was appointed to this particular role as chairman, the key thing when you are transitioning an organization into something that perhaps need to almost look different and to some degree feel different, there needs to be a foundational aspect. And so in the development of the 6 core pillars, the first one had to be transparency. What transparency gives is an element of independence, transitioning from a government entity to a statutory corporation. This allows us now to be able to provide both our key stakeholders an opportunity to understand the inner operation of the unit, but even more importantly, our international global partners to show them that this unit is at the highest standard and giving them a level of trust and confidence in our ability to process quickly, but most importantly, to protect not just our own sovereign nation, but our partners as well. So transparency is an element of openness. Hence, we're having this conversation, ensuring that we have a level of openness, but most importantly, that we can demonstrate on the high degree of integrity where individuals can now understand and to some degree learn that this 40-year program that I've heard others may not have even been aware of, and the benefit it provides to the entire federation, that they have some level of understanding.
And with understanding, there's transparency, and that leads us into our second pillar, which is communication. Prioritizing clear communication for public understanding, as you hinted, yes, is why we're having this conversation. What measures will the CIU take to communicate to citizens and stakeholders?
Yes, so communication is key. Until we get to the point where we can read minds, we must communicate. In absence of communication, there is an element of uninformed creation of information. And so communication has to be the first pillar. In the communication aspect, we've done a number of different things. So first, I met with our core stakeholders, had a number of meet and greets in regards to our local authorized agents, and in addition to our international marketing agents, the individuals who are given a license sanctioned by us as Board of Governors to market our product. And I met with them in the same concept of, as everyone here in St. Kitts and Nevis is asking, well, why? What's going to be different? And I share that, what this transition is going to look like. I indicated we will have more transparent communication. And we began the implementation of a 24-hour response time. What I would share, the timeline that was in place was an extended period of time. And that in of itself does not create trust. That does not create a level of confidence. And so we wanted to make sure we provide that level of first, we're going to provide an element of communication where we upfront, and we will accept the feedback. Feedback is a gift. My board and my C-suite and the unit is fully aware that I've always used this concept of feedback is a gift. All gift may not be the ideal gift that you may want, but it is a gift and you must accept it. And so we went through that process of communicating with our core stakeholders, both here locally and those on a global level. The other thing we did was the implementation of a communication division, which will then be the official voice of the CIU. I think there were various different touch points, and some of those touch points in terms of communication that were coming from the unit were truly not the official element. In communication, if I may use this opportunity to share with the general audience, we are in startup mode. We are not going to get everything right. We are 30 plus days old as a statutory body. And what we were able to successfully achieve in that 30-day timeline would have taken others, or have taken others, years to have completed. But we will not always get it right. So we will always communicate as much as we can to preserve that level of trust.
And that takes me into good governance, maintaining accountability. We spoke about transparency. We just spoke about communication. Now we're on to good governance. And we know maintaining accountability is a key pillar to serve public interest. How has the CIU implemented good governance, and will it be maintained?
So good governance is the foundation of this program. Governance gives a level of trust, gives a level of confidence, but even more importantly, demonstrating a level of governance allows others to want to participate in our program. And so we are fully aware of that level of key element that we must preserve. The way we plan to do that is our enhanced due diligence program. We will continue to ensure that we enhance our due diligence, our background checks, our investigation on every single individual that is afforded this opportunity to be part of our wonderful federation. And so we are also in the process of leveraging new technology. As we are aware, there's the advent of AI, and everywhere we go, there's an element of AI. I myself, coming from Wall Street, where I was a COO of a fraud and cybersecurity, one of the largest company there, I'm fully aware that we can't continue doing things in the old way. The same concept of how we perhaps do our investigation, our background checks. We have to use the latest technology to combat any bad actors that perhaps in any shape or form will have a damaging impact on our program. So we will continue to ensure that the integrity of the program is preserved as we transition now to the statutory body. We are now more independent. We are not a government entity in terms of perhaps the perceived notion that the external bodies may have seen. We now are being managed appropriately with the right professionalism, with the right effectiveness to ensure that we can function with the right, I would say, with the right pillars to give individuals that level of confidence that this program will continue for an additional 40 plus years.
Awesome. All right, so you touched a bit on AI, and we know how moving forward it's important to keep track with new innovations. So it takes us into our next topic, our next points rather, transformation. Adapting to global challenges with innovative approaches. What transformations can stakeholders expect under your leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll use the acronym of PPT. The first P is people, and that is enshrined in customer service. We wish to be a world-class unit. We wish to ensure that anyone around the globe who is interacting with the unit will get a premier customer service experience. We're in a human business. And in human business, there's an element of trust. And trust comes with how you treat me. And so we are enshrined in ensuring that the unit demonstrate that level of customer service, that level of customer advocacy, our way of speaking first to each other in the unit, and most importantly, how we communicate and provide the level of service to our core stakeholders. Look, competition is out there. We are no longer the only game in town. We were the first game in town. And so, what I think was very important, and I give a good testament of positive to the government to realize that we now have to be competitive. And how do we be competitive? Is one, we ensure that there's a level playing field, and that level playing field came about when we signed the memorandum of agreement, where now all of the CBI in the Caribbean islands, the price point at a minimum threshold. And so when you have a standardized aspect of the pricing sort of being similar, you now need to move into the aspect of differentiation. And this is now leading into how do you transform the unit to provide that competitive advantage, customer-centric, for a customer-led service, a quality of work. So that's the first P. The second P is the process, and that is in the aspect of technology. We are looking at all the various policies and procedures, and we have to streamline them. We're no longer requiring, 15 steps where we can truncate that to 2 steps. That creates a level of efficiency. And in order to do that as well, we also implemented new technology, not just for our own benefit, but also for us, our external stakeholders, where they will have access to see where certain application processes are in place. We've already made a significant inroad where we've made a decision that as of October 1st, if an application were to come into our unit and didn't require extensive back and forth clarification, we are committed to answering, providing a decision within 10 weeks and getting to hopefully a final output within 120 to 180 days. That is absolutely phenomenal. As I said, feedback is a gift. And one of the gifts I received, it was taking too long. It was taking 1, 2, 3 years to respond, to complete. There's no way we can now function in that arena. So we have to now move into a transformative approach. And then lastly, as I said, T is for the technology that we are implementing. And technology implementation needs to consider a number of things. One, it needs to be the right technology for the right time. How do we ensure that we can implement something quickly? How can we ensure that we can implement something that has the right security, but it also enshrines itself in making us more competitive? So we are looking different ways. We will be implementing a new case management system that will allow us to move the processing time much more efficiently and quickly under the whole umbrella of transformation.
And that takes us into global leadership. You made mention of us having competitors outside and reinforcing CRU's reputation as a leader in addressing global investments. How does the CRU plan to position itself as a leader on the global sphere?
So, to become a global leader, the first thing obviously you have to do is make sure you communicate and meet with your global stakeholders and provide them that level of trust, provide them that level of confidence in your program to ensure that they're very comfortable in that level of partnership. And in doing so, that was one of the reasons why I traveled and met with a number of our global partners in the Middle East and in Asia, participated in a number of events and speaking events, met with 500 plus key agents and industry promoters, and all this within the 30 days timeline. But that was required because St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program has always been on the minds of many individuals around the world. We were able to afford a number of individuals the opportunity to be citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, to be called fellow Kittitians and Nevisians. And there's an element of continuity that we wanted to preserve. And so meeting with our global partners to ensure, one, we demonstrate that the integrity of the program maintains and continues and holds extremely strong. The aspect of being transformative and how we will be transformative and the connectivity that we plan to do to demonstrate that St. Kitts and Nevis will preserve itself as being number one. As you may or may not be aware in some of the local media, we were ranked number one from the CBI Index in terms of, and this is the fourth time, it's number one in 4 years. When you look at all the various factors, it stemmed itself from our strong aspect of preserving due diligence. And people will ask, well, why is that? What are the other reasons? There's an element globally that individuals wish to feel safe. If they wish to become part of something, they want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to protect and to preserve the integrity of it. And so doing a number of road shows and continual engagement with our partners, demonstrating our innovative way and transformative continue will help us remain on the global front and become the global leader that we have always been.
And that takes us into the final pillar of the 6 pillars, which is sustainability. And you made mention of integrity and our social responsibility, combining economic growth with social responsibility. How does the CIU balance growth with community and environmental responsibilities?
So, of all the 6 pillars, and you've done every possible thing, you've transformed it, you've invested in it, you've done every possible thing to become the global leader, and you're now number one, and you've increased the revenue stream of it. If you're unable to sustain it, all that level of work becomes nothing. It means nothing. And so it's important that there is that balance, how we grow it. It's important on the trickle-down effect of how this program impacts the local individual, the regular person. It's important to preserve the program because sustainability is the continuum. The government has made a clear path of a sustainable island state journey. And a sustainable island state journey isn't going to happen overnight. And a sustainable island state journey, which involves a number of diversification, which involves transformation, which involves doing things differently, that doesn't happen overnight. And we must understand that our St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment program, it contributes over 65% of our GDP. Now, what does the local man need to understand? Why is this important? From the salaries that our civil servants get to the food that you eat, there is an element that CBI has contributed to the education, which preserve some of our medical professionals and healthcare, that our CBI program has been the foundation to support. And I think, unfortunately, we have not had the opportunity to provide that level of transparency. And within my tenure, that is my goal. That is my utmost goal. I have been very successful internationally in my professional arena. And I wanted to make sure that I can contribute similar to my country of birth, in that level to ensure that the sustainable aspect and the sustainable growth of this program is preserved and continues for a very long time.
All right, so this takes us into our milestones. The CIU would have achieved milestones within the first 30 days. What are some major milestones achieved within the first 30 days of the CIU's operations?
So, to be asked that question and to have the answers, I mean, it is a testament to the work that my team has done. Normally, you enter a new business and you're trained to wait, listen, and observe for the first 100 days. And then after the first 100 days, then you build a strategy and then you begin slowly implementing it. But yet the question now is first 30 days. And I must start, before I outline what we were able to accomplish, is to thank, first and foremost, my board of governors, who, without them, the concept of a 30-day success, or what is called the 30-day days of excellence, that's the theme, my marketing team has used it, would not have been possible. And most importantly, the management and the staff at the CIU. So I'll walk through a couple of things in the first 30 days. In the first 30 days, we had to go through 1,000 applicants. I think this is the highest that we've seen in St. Kitts and Nevis ever, to that degree. And was it successfully able to select a number of individuals. That's the first one. The second thing, and I may have mentioned it before, is we immediately established our communication department to help streamline our communication responses to ensure that there's an official voice, and move to a level of 24-hour response time. I know my staff might be concerned I'm going to share this because they don't like me to share the secrets. But it was taking months, almost years for us to respond. And to implement an element of 24 hours was not an easy feat. And as I said before, we will look to get it right, but that is the core foundation and the task I have given to the team. The other thing is immediately connecting with our stakeholders. There was an element where our stakeholders wanted to know what was going to happen. And so I took upon that task of traveling to them and having, panel sessions, but also having one-on-one interaction and committing to them these transformational elements and responding to them as well. One thing I hear is, when you talk about customer service, what does that mean? And I'll give you a perfect example. It's almost a story. I thank you very much for contacting the CIU. We're here to support you. We want to make sure that your experience is well maintained. We want to ensure that we give you that premium service. How can I help? I will do every possible thing I can to ensure that you leave this unit with the experience that you've never felt before. Those little things matter to individuals. Good afternoon, good evening, are paramount. But even more so when you commit to something, you follow up on it. The other thing we were able to do is continue to ensure that we safeguard the integrity of the program with the aspect of being competitive. We looked at immediately coming in, where are we from a price point threshold? And myself sort of coming from Wall Street and investment, you have to be competitive. You have to assess where the market is and provide the reasonable signal. And so we made some adjustment immediately and quickly to some of the investment threshold as well. So we've done a number of things from a 30-day timeline, and that quickly gave us some wins in terms of one, how are we demonstrating the transformation aspect? Two, how are we then ensuring that we maintain the integrity of the program? But most importantly, how are we ensuring that we continue to operate now truly as a statutory corporation or statutory body with a business in the way we've established ourselves.
Awesome. And still on the CIU's milestone achieved within the 30 days, what's the difference between the CIU and as a statutory corporation and its previous guise as a government entity?
So a statutory corporation or statutory body, we're sort of managed by laws, legislation that are implemented, by the government. The previous entity was a government entity. Now, as a statutory body, although we are legislated by laws, we have a level of independence. We now have a level of management and oversight, independence of the government by the Board of Governors and as chairman who heads this division. That gives you much significant autonomy to implement policies, to make decisions independent of perhaps the government, but within the legislation. And you can be more agile and make decisions quickly, No offense to our government entity, but I know it takes maybe 56 steps if you wish to order a pen. Hopefully we can transition that where we don't have to go through all of those pieces. We can make decisions independently within the shrines of the legislation, but we have policies that we can now provide, from the governor's perspective as well.
So recently, the CRU made a noteworthy reduction in the minimum investment requirements. We saw real estate investment move from 400,000 to 325,000, and private homes from 800,000 to 600,000. What was the reasoning behind lowering these investment thresholds?
Great question, and I think there's consistently many were asking that. Yeah, look, we came in as a new board of governors, and as chairman, I needed to first assess where we are before making any specific changes. And so I listened to our global market. I assessed where we are to our competitors, and made a strategic decision that I needed to right size where we are in the market in order to attract more investors and ensure that the demand for our product increase. And so those were the strategic lens of sending a signal, but most importantly, demonstrating that we saw there was a shift in terms of where we were price point. We are a premium, so we're not going to lower to the lowest level in the market. And what I can tell you is that signal has now, we've seen the rewards. We've seen a significant interest, a number of applications. One of my background was in the global head of the technology of an asset management technology. So when someone is telling me we're getting a lot of applications, I needed to show me. So right now I'm physically looking to see that, and what I can tell you, the response has been phenomenal in terms of. I now start my day at 3 a.m. because different regions are now excited to. We think it is now the forefront of conversation. And so even that, I now make myself available to ensure that we are open, we are willing to ensure that we demonstrate the level of competitiveness, but show them that we're now a business corporation. As I said before, Perhaps it would have taken a longer time to make some decisions, and perhaps, the assessment might have not been in a business mindset. No, we can do that. We can look at the market, we can assess the market, we can do our market analysis quickly and effectively. And as a chairman, I can make those decisions as quickly as needed. And now we're seeing significant interest back into our CBI program.
And how does this adjustment align with CIU's mission of maintaining exclusivity and integrity in the CBI market?
Yes, so it all goes back to our due diligence process. Exclusivity is important. I think the most important thing is the integrity of the program. And so as we are making these changes are always made with the element of, let us not in any shape or form impact or infringe on our due diligence process. Actually, we're looking to we continue to strengthen it in many different ways. We're also looking at new partners. I think it's always good to have a fresh lens and fresh eyes. So we're looking at new partners, and so those changes are critical to remain competitive, but most importantly, ensuring that the integrity of the program is not impacted with our due diligence process, with ensuring that the right individuals who will not create any level of disrepute to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And if such happen, we immediately will take action and have taken action to remove individuals who have not demonstrated that level of civility and has impacted our program.
And that takes me to my final question as it relates to the minimum reduction in investment requirements. What specific benefits do these adjustments offer to both investors and the local economy?
So the thing we have to take into consideration from an investor perspective, our program has roughly, I would say, two themes of product, but it's four product. The first one is a sustainable island state contribution, and that stands at a minimum of 250,000 US dollars, and allows an individual to participate in our program as such. What this gives the stakeholders the opportunity to be offered a citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's critical. I think that's very important. And we don't take this lightly. We have to balance the economic side of it, but we also have to balance our patronage in terms of the who and how many we allow into the program. And then the other aspect is the other theme is our real estate side of it, where individuals are able to invest in various real estate option condominiums, unit, or private home sale. And as such now will then be afforded an opportunity to participate in our program. And I use the word participate because I think the local individuals may assume that everyone who enters the program gets in the program. It is the opportunity we allow you to participate. And as such, then the unit then goes through a very rigorous process along with our international partners. And we make a determination based on every aspect possible that is in front of us, this individual or group of individuals, if we should provide an opportunity to participate and then be offered a citizenship program. So from the investor side, there's the element of an investment, a significant investment that an investor would have made, and then they would then be offered that. So that's a win for them. One of the key things for our local economy is the revenue that we bring, and that's really where it's important to understand this significant economic contribution goes back into our economy. it goes back into our school system. It goes back into scholarships individually. It goes back into the agriculture foundation. It goes back into the healthcare aspect of our economy. And so as we will now begin slowly seeing activities happening, jobs, construction jobs. As real estate happened, there's an element of construction jobs. It also has a trickle-down effect because the workers then will get paid and then obviously contribute that into the local economy. As we will now slowly begin seeing activities and the right activities, because one of the things I think we are chartered to do is ensure the type of development, the right type of development. So we have strong oversight in terms of what type of development we will allow to be facilitated through the program and ensure that there is full transparency, but most importantly, there's a completion of those projects. And so it goes deeper than just the economic one side stakeholder getting a level of return on the investment, but that investment contributes to the economic diversification of our economy.
This leads me into the objective of the Middle East Roadshow. The CIU also undertook a Middle East Roadshow recently. What did the CIU accomplish with the Middle East Roadshow?
Yes. So the Middle East has sort of been one of our foremost market in the CBI program. And, to that end, that was the first stop I went to re-energize, to ensure that the confidence of this market, the key stakeholders, are aware that St. Kitts is here. We are now, building us back to the number one, remaining the premier brand. What I would tell you in the Middle East tour was a level of confidence that was brought back into our key stakeholders, a level of trust, a level of, wow, St. Kitts is now back in terms of the things I was able to share with them that we're doing and the things that they were able to see while I was there. Because one of the things I think I would say is there's a level of just speaking. And I think that's one of the things where, for me personally, yes, I can say something, but you have to show me the results. Transparency, communication, but at the end, I need to see the results. And so I challenge them to hold me accountable. I challenge them to ensure that what I say is being demonstrated. And if it is not, we then will course correct and immediately fix as needed. So that trip in of itself was sort of the starting point, and we've now begun seeing a number of positive activity, and hopefully, I would say over the next couple of months or so, we will now start to see that trickling into the economy as well.
And finally, looking at the local community, how does the CIU contribute towards the local economy?
The CIU and the revenue from the CBI, it impacts the economy, but I think most importantly, it also touches the local man on the street. That's very important. And I think the ways it does may not have always been as transparent and before. We talk about the healthcare aspect. That's critical. You enter the hospital, you need some level of treatment, you need some type of medication. There's an element of CBI there. The agriculture sector, you go to the supermarkets, you go to the market, the farmers, the small business individual. There's an element of CBI that is contributing to those various economy. And then what I would say is, of education, significantly in terms of how is this level of revenue supporting it. There's an element of CBI touches. And I share this because there's always been this, behind the curtain, this cloak of dagger approach. And we wish to change that level of element. Yeah, I'm here having this conversation. I think my team may have called it CBI 101, and hopefully we have CBI 201 and so forth. But the element is to remove that. As a statutory corporation, we have to now provide and conduct an annual audit, and then we will publish a number of data to show the impact of this CBI revenue and how it actually is touching various sectors. So, as I said earlier, I don't want to just say it. It's always better to show. And these are the things that we are now doing and we are able to do as a statutory corporation. As the chairman, that is my mandate to ensure that this is operated in a business. There's a level of confidence. At the highest level, our international partners can be confident that our program is robust, it is protected, it has the right due diligence. Our stakeholders can see our competitiveness. But then most importantly, that the ordinary person on the street can feel it. It's a feeling aspect. And so that is my goal, where things are moving and the level of development in the country is taking part.
So thank you, Mr. St. Just, for sharing these insights with us. It's exciting to see the direction of the CIU and the impact it has on our community and on our economy and overall the benefits that it brings to us here in the Federation. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for affording me this opportunity to at least provide some small level of insight in the things that we're doing, and hopefully you will allow me to return and share those continual benefits.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Stay in tuned with us for more information and insights from the CIU.